These time ball games from Bellingham, Mass, and with your help, we can reach 2,500 subscribers. As a thank you, I'll be giving out a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber when we get there, so be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Lucas leading out on a blue-white Delver list. Basic Island. This is very much his own brew. Into a Ponder. Blue-white Delver does often suffer from not having enough instants and sorceries to flip Delver. I think Delver's a little worse in the deck. Of course, Stoneforge Mystic, very strong in many matchups. And here we go, turn 2 Stoneforge. Of course, Batterskull, a extremely resilient threat versus control. Even if they kill the Germ, even if they kill the Stoneforge Mystic, if the game goes long enough, you're going to be able to pick up and put down that Germ, the Batterskull, continually getting Germs until it eventually crosses the finish line. It can grind out so many decks, and we've got Force of Will pitching Spell Pierce on a Spell Snare, and this Stoneforge does resolve, getting the Batterskull. Jason now, Misty Rainforest, grabbing a basic forest, snow-covered forest for Arkham's Astrolabe. And Ponder, so continuing to dig. Not a spectacular reply to this Stoneforge, but at least moving the ball forward. Actually staying pat there. We'll see what answer he has for this Batterskull. Typically, if your opponent is staying pat with a Ponder, it's usually very bad news for you. Might indicate a cantrip on top, but very often means that they've got what they need to continue play. Brainstorm for Lucas. And just a basic plane, so no more fetching in response to shuffle those cards away. We've got a Brainstorm for Jason. Ooh, and passing the turn with just 1 mana open. During the end step, Stoneforge is going to activate. This can be one of any color mana. Is that a Swords in his hand? It may be. Batterskull entering the battlefield. Has that 1/1 or 0/0 Germ beefed up to a 4/4. It's a very legitimate threat. And Swords to Plowshares taking out the Stoneforge, but the Batterskull remains. And now Lucas has 3 mana available. He can actually return this in response to, say, an SnOko activation. Though to be fair, SnOko landing would be pretty catastrophic. We've got a Icefang Coatl. Yeah, but only 2 snow permanents. So this is actually not going to trade. This is just buying time. Jason's going to draw a card. And his mana base, I think, is failing him right now. I don't know about this earlier Ponder. Icefang's going to draw a card. Ponder getting Force of Negation pitching back to basics. Brainstorm for Jason. Oh, and passing the turn. Yeah, no, this is quite bad. There's an old saying from the early days of Magic that in the control matchup, the first person to miss their land drop loses the game. And that's a little bit of what this feels like. Jason falling very far behind. We'll see what Lucas starts doing with his mana. But he's got plenty of it. Jason just saying go with 2 mana available. Lucas potentially going to have 5 mana available. Literally in range of being able to pick up and put back down Batterskull. without the aid of a Stoneforge Mystic. That end step Brainstorm. 4 more damage coming in. Oh, and now a no-value Snapcaster Mage. At 10 life, that feels premature. He is tapped out. Force of Will pitching Jace the Mind Sculptor, which gets spell pierced. Oh, no. Yeah, this is really spiraling out of control. I think tiny inaccuracies adding up. That Snapcaster Mage coming down. Not only did he lose the potential future value of getting a Swords to Plowshares out of it, at least resetting the Batter's Skull, he also tapped himself out, so Spell Pierce was able to push through that potentially lethal Stoneforge Mystic into sort of Fire and Ice. So Lucas capitalizing there, going on to game number 2, up a game as they head to the sideboards. All right, jumping into game number 2 here. Jason resolving his mulligan, leading out the more traditional opening here. Snow-covered island into Astrolabe. Flooded Strand and passing the turn. Looks like he's got a Brainstorm to optimize his hand. And he will fire that off early. Lucas is going to take that opportunity to Brainstorm as well. Draw 3, put 2 back, and then shuffle with a fetch land. Very often referred to as the best combo in the game. It's actually pretty hard to refute. It doesn't actually win the game, but the decks that are able to utilize that just over time do so well. Really lets you play Magic regardless of the top deck. You can just have that level of consistency, and of course it's all player dependent, which is so fun. Really leverages skill, and I think that is what draws a lot of people to the game. And now Arkham's Astrolabe allowing this basic Plains to cast Ponder. We saw game 1, Jason had back to basics in his deck. We also saw Lucas with a ton of basics. It's probably safe to assume that card has been boarded out. Jason's mana base working much better for him here now. Delver of Secrets not flipping. Does give Lucas a peek at the top of his deck, and he's not happy with it, so he's going to go ahead and shuffle it away, getting a little extra value out of that fetch land. Another fetch land comes in. And Icefang Coatl actually showing up during the end step. Could have ambushed this Delver of Secrets. Not looking to be too tricky here. And just passing the turn back, however, with 4 mana open. Delver of Secrets fails to flip again. Not uncommon. I've actually watched Lucas quite a bit here on the channel. We always have the #1 table on camera. Lucas often finds himself there, and I will say that the main issue I've noticed with this build is the lack of instants and sorceries. A flashback Brainstorm, that's going to get a flashback Snapcaster Mage, and Lucas is going to Brainstorm in kind. We'll see if he has a desire to trade one of his counter spells for this Brainstorm or not. If he does have any 1-mana spells, Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, something along those lines. And that is going to resolve for Jason also. Much more of a game here as both players building a reasonable board presence. Ice Fang Coatl does have Death Touch. Plenty of snow permanents here. Jason now grabbing a tropical island. Ponder, digging. Very much a standoff here. Jason definitely can't turn into the aggressor as long as this Delver is a potential threat. And a Brainstorm yet again. Yeah, swinging with Snapcaster Mage would not be great. Lucas happy to lower both players' life totals. Swords to Plowshares shows up. And this is likely to get this Ice Fang Coatl out of there. Delvers do like to turn sideways. No reason to stay home with the 3-2 flyer. The only consideration is another Ice Fang Coatl. If Lucas can play around it, he may. We'll see if that's in the cards, however. Yeah, and he'll pass, so he's being extremely conservative here, playing around the Ice Fang Coatl. Jason doesn't flash one in during the end step. And now Monastery Mentor being cast. This is a very serious threat. Looks like we're going to see a hard cast Force of Will. At this Mentor. Another consideration for not tapping off that mana. Ooh, Veil of Summer. And now this is likely going to have to be fought over. Force of Will. Pitching another Force of Will. Oh, and this can't feel good for Lucas. Another response. Just wants that Mentor to go to the graveyard. Instead, a basic Plains being fetched. And Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce going to the graveyard. And Mentor resolving. However, Jason is pretty much out of gas here. Snapcaster turning sideways. Lucas actually taking the damage. And we're definitely going to see a Swords to Plowshares on the Mentor. Ponder first. Does not find anything worth keeping. That goes away. The Swords does take out the Mentor, so no heavy damage done. Of course, the drawing the card off of the Veil of Summer, going down a card off of Force of Will, both of those feel pretty terrible. But the Mentor not sticking. We'll see what the threat density of Jason's list is. Another Snapcaster Mage, and this one gets a Ponder. This Ice Fang Coatl will eventually need to be handled. Snapcaster Mage on Jason's side, and this is just absolute card advantage. Engines just wailing here. Full speed. Snapcasters flashing back cantrips, just trying to grind every bit of value out of each of these cards. Every card here representing 2 cards, which then represents 4 cards. I mean, when your Snapcasters get you Preordains or Ponders back, and then that gets you more Snapcasters, finding more Ice Fang Coatls. I mean, you can really grind out an opponent when you just incrementally just keep getting those extra cards out of each situation. You would think the longer this game goes, the more it would favor a SnOko build. And now Palace Jailer talk about value. We've now got the Monarch. Looks like a Jon Snow reminder. And Jason's going to be outdrawing Lucas 2-1 on top of all of his already solid cantrip engine. Sword of Fire and Ice off of Stoneforge Mystic. This is a very dangerous situation. Another blue creature, not going to be a ton of help against this sword. I'm a little surprised that Lucas didn't cast the Sword of Fire and Ice. I'm not sure how many cards Jason had in hand. Looks like he was not willing to risk it. But he's going to be a little bottlenecked on mana here. Oh, we see Council's Judgment, a card that's in Jason's hand. That actually could have answered it before a swing even happens. Swords to Plowshares, taking out this Snapcaster Mage in response to the equip or the attack. If it's to the equip, looks like he gained 3 life. If it was in response to the equip, he could have shipped it onto another Snapcaster and turned that sideways. Council's Judgment, targeting the Sword of Fire and Ice. And we've got a Brainstorm in response. That gets Pyroblasted. And now Lucas going to fetch. And Flusterstorm. Whoa, he's going to be able to counter this Council's Judgment unless Jason's got some type of response. Force of Will pitching Spell Snare on the final copy. So he pays the 3, and then Force of Will's the final copy. So Council's Judgment clears that Sword of Fire and Ice. That was a huge threat. True Name Nemesis now. Oh, very interesting. A ton of creatures turning sideways. Are we going to see like a Council's Judgment or something? Batterskull being put in response to this attack. Just 2 damage coming in on Lucas. Yeah, there we go. Supreme Verdict. It's like that's the only thing that really makes sense there with that Alpha Strike. Or not even Alpha Strike, just all-out attack. That definitely felt like a Wrath of God in the works. Supreme Verdict, uncounterable. Little added bonus of getting the Batterskull Germ cleared. Oko now. And Oko can make a 3/3. Start swinging. Lucas can return the Batterskull, but... Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Even returning the Batterskull and casting it, not really going to be enough of an answer versus Oko as he continues to ramp up in loyalty. 5 mana to replay this. Batterskull could just turn into a 3/3 Elk. Council's Judgment. Hitting the Jace the Mind Sculptor, and I'm not even convinced that's actually the bigger threat here. Oko makes the Astrolabe a 3/3, and now Stoneforge Mystic grabs Umezawa's Jite, but he is facing down lethal, and we are on to game number 3. As SnOko able to absolutely grind that one out. Get the check mark there. We're headed into game 3. This one, Lucas is going to be on the play. We'll see if he has more of a Delvery draw. as it looks like in the extremely deep end of the pool, SnOko is going to be favored. All right, we're jumping right into Game 3 here. Arkham's Astrolabe for Jason. Delver of Secrets responds with a Brainstorm, so no early aggressor from blue-white Delver yet. It's got a Vista and passing the turn. Basic plains. And so far this blue-white Delver list essentially functioning without dual lands at all. Stoneforge Mystic, a Brainstorm in response from Jason. Does he have the Spell Snare? No, he's going to be able to grab a Batterskull. These guys playing pretty quickly, coming down the stretch. We're over 20 minutes running at double speed, and we've also cut out some of the shuffling. So they may be coming up towards time. Teferi Time Raveler gets dazed. Prismatic Vista into an Arkham's Astrolabe. Passing the turn with 3 mana available. And a Swords to Plowshares. Gets Force of Willed. And I believe that's due to time considerations. Very often a deck like Lucas is playing will actually be okay with that. But he would rather not go to a draw after fighting so long with Jason over this match. Both players going to be looking for a win here. Lucas does have a clock on board. 5 damage a turn. Elspeth. The original Elspeth from Shards of Alara. I actually had her in a draft the night my wife went into labor with our first child. I've got a story about that one for you guys another time. But Elspeth does not lose in Limited, and it looks like she may be able to keep that streak going here in Constructed, a rarely seen card in Legacy. You can give Batterskull wings. Swords to Plowshares taking out that Batterskull. Another land. I'd love to see this Batterskull picked up by the Stoneforge. If he's got another one. It doesn't look like he does. This is turn 2 to Teferi Time Raveler. Sending this Stoneforge Mystic in for 4 more damage. If Lucas draws a land on his final turn, he'll be able to ship the Batterskull and give it wings. Jason with an Oko. I believe he's sitting at 6 here. Spell Pierce on Oko. Jason now actually really has to consider what sacrificing these 2 lands could look like. If he loses 2 life, that could be the difference between winning and losing right now. He just needs to survive for the draw. He's got no chance of winning this game. He actually lets the Oko go, not willing to take the extra 2 damage. We've got the Stoneforge Mystic getting equipped, getting wings, and getting in there for the final damage as Lucas top decks the land to take the match. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.